Hello Marvel Heroes fans, my name is Wilfred Wong and thank you for tuning into my channel where you see videos and guide on this free-to-play game called Marvel Heroes. Now, a big thanks to those who requested this guide to happen because I have a lot of fun trying to find out what works and what doesn't. I have a lot of fun talking to people in the game and the forum and in YouTube as well about Cyclops. For those who may know, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and being an X-Men fan, obviously I'm very much like a huge fan of Cyclops as well, being a leader of X-Men. And I don't really read a lot of comic books, but when I do, I read more on X-Men compared to Avengers. So I do have some special a feeling towards the X-Men. I have been wanting to play Cyclops play him seriously for a very long time, since the launch. But I think somehow, one way or the other, he doesn't really shine. If you look at Captain America, also the leader of Avenger, he has his down moment, but he's very, very awesome right now. In fact, if you see all the Avengers, most of the iconic Avengers, they are very, very awesome. But when it comes to X-Men, I looked into Cyclops and this build is called the Metronome build, and it will come clear to you later why it is being said so. So in this video, I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to rearrange the order a little bit for a reason. Again, you'll see it later because it makes sense to talk about a certain mechanic first. So, I would like to talk about the state of the Cyclops, when it comes to playing him. For those who have already known him already, beam waving is probably one of those things that you would be playing. And I've also worked out, the optimal frequency of beam waving. So it could be quite interesting to those who are already an expert in your field in playing Cyclops. And then I'll go through, the rest of it is very much like what I've done for other guys as well. So now, if you look at the current state of Cyclops, it depends on who you talk to because, like it or not, he has a lot of fans in the game as well as in comic book. Some may say he is pretty broken. I would say he's pretty dated, but others may say he's pretty unique. Now, why is it so? I'll talk a little bit about his power layering later, but if you are not exploiting or using a certain feature, it's called the beam waving. It is to actually interlace two channel power at the same time to double up the or at least in my case 60% boost in the whole damage layer. And if you don't use that beam waving, you are way down the DPS lane. Basically you are just not competitive, or I can't make him work. So if you do the traditional way of putting on layers and thinking that wow, I've got this cooldown, that cooldown, and this damage over time, I'm sorted. No, it's not. In fact, the more cooldown you have, power you have, is actually worse because for Cyclops, attack speed actually means something. I actually gear a little bit for attack speed, so much so that the rest of layer become irrelevant except the strike team, which I'll talk a little bit about it later. So all in all, if you would like to play Cyclops, if you don't care about DPS, fine. I've part of the video is about not beam waving, but if you do care about the end state, like Endgame, if you want him to be at least competitive to some of this ranged hero, not even hybrid ranged, pure hero, then you have to do a beam waving. Some find it extremely boring, which I can understand, but I think I've talked to some in the forum as well or in game as well. Fans are just adapting to anything that's thrown to them sometimes, and he is probably one of the only hero that in that broken state, but yet the fans are able to do something about it to make him competitive. So in a way, the fans are adapting to his flaw or hidden feature, and then he becomes very unique because there are no hero that plays like Cyclops. You have to do certain things to make him work. And I think if I was Gazillion, it's going to be very hard because status code is you've got people find him boring, but people find love him. But if you change it, then those hardcore fans may say, wow, I play Cyclops because I would like to beam wave, and now I can't weave my beams, and I'm playing like any other heroes. But although any other hero may not be bad, all right. So because of that, I probably don't foresee any change to Cyclops any soon. So, so that's why I like to just build this guide and share with you my findings. All right. So now, when it comes to beam waving, it's actually very, very easy. But the setup has to follow a certain way. So you have to use the optic beam as the main power, bounded to a left mouse button. And then after that, focus beam, you inject focus beam into the optic beam in a set frequency. All right. So now, you can't swap the two power in key. If you use your focus beam as the left mouse button, a main spender, and use the optic beam to inject into it, it would not work. Personally, I prefer focus beam way more than optic beam. Why? Because focus beam itself is a high DPS from the number perspective. Focus beam also is very special. If you talk about uniqueness of Cyclops, right, he doesn't need beam waving to be unique. Focus beam is probably the only power whereby once you lock the target, it doesn't matter which where your mouse is on the screen. Even as you dodge in and out, you are able to maintain the focus, the locking, the target locking. So it makes him, extremely easy in cosmic trial, provided that your DPS is not that terrible, right? Like, for me, I was just basically using one power. And because Madam Hydra will never hit you. The moment you see the bullet comes out, you dodge away, but then your beam maintained regardless of where your cursor is. So you don't need to frantically re-engage, retarget the target, the enemy or boss. The focus beam will do its job. So in my humble opinion, Cyclops does not need beam waving to be unique. Focus beam is probably the only thing in the game that allows a hero move the cursor anywhere on the screen as you roll, as you whatever, but the beam still lock on the target. So that is the beauty of it. But if you use beam waving, you cannot use the focus beam on the main left mouse button. So that's why I set up two hotbars, I'll show you later, to cater for situation whereby I would enjoy using a focus beam to go in and out of different various situation, or I toggle to the kind of like just wave to get the maximum single target. All right. So now, when it comes to waving, the frequency is very important. You can't go too fast. You can't go too slow. Mathematically, I can't derive anything because it's a bug, it's an exploit, it's a feature. Tooltip will explain how this whole thing works because it's not supposed to work that way. You're supposed to channel power. Optic beam supposed to I think twice per second or 4 times per second, same as focus beam. But it's supposed to be channel, and the moment you don't maintain channel, you lose the DPS. It meant to be that way, but I don't know why it doesn't go that way. So the frequency of the injection is very important. So what I've done is that I've downloaded an app called I think it's called the Bats Metronome. So depending on whether you're using iPhone or Android, iOS or Android. I use Android. I never bought anything from Apple. So if you use Android, you download one of the Metronome app from Play Store and get one that is free. Does not have advertisement. Does not need to use any of your phone feature. So there's actually one that's like that, very high rating. And for those who are into music, I actually had a band before. I play the guitar and I sing as well, wrote songs. But if you are musician, metronome is very usual stuff because if you play piano, you need to maintain a certain rhythm to it, and that's why you need a metronome. And now, last time it was a mechanical one. Nowadays you can get a digital one. And what I've done is that I've downloaded the metronome app. And I'll use the different frequency for injection and to record the time to kill on a dummy to see that how long does it take for me to use only 3 abilities. All right, I use the optic beam as the main spender, focus beam as the injection in the layer into the optic beam, and then I use a strike team because I use hybrid, so I use beast to it. Every 8 seconds I use a strike team. So that's the only 3 power I have. I use power cosmic, so there's no like sudden surge in DPS due to the rank 5 Gungnir proc and whatnot. So there's no special proc. My teammate was not even with me. So there's absolutely nothing but a very consistent way to dish out damage, exactly what I need. So I don't need to mix it with the signature and then sometimes brutal, sometimes not. So it kind of like distort my whole study. My whole study is to understand what is the optimum frequency to wave the beam. All right. So I use this app to do it. So the result is this. For those who are into music, tempo is very easy to be understood. 60 is once per second, 120 is twice per second, and so on and so forth. So it's a frequency versus the how many times per second. So I record the Q time and I derive a score based on Q time. So the best time, of course, this has probably have an error of like a 1 to 2% plus or minus in terms of score. The best time is about twice per second, 120, 130 tempo is good. Now it's very interesting to see that if you are too slow, if you are doing once per second instead of twice per second, you are actually losing 22% Q time, which is quite substantial. If you do it too fast, if you do 160 is actually more than twice a second, but it's not quite to 3 or 4 times a second. But if you are not at that twice per second frequency, you're losing about 19% of the DPS. So if you wave, you have to be very accurate in your frequency. Now, good thing is that it's quite forgiving. It's between 90 to 130 kind of tempo. So my advice is that I'll show you later how best to time it. You could either use a Metronome app, set in the background, just keep clicking, or you play some disco song or techno song that is around that frequency, and you just keep clicking while you are listening to music. It works, right? So that would be the best way to play Cyclops. So so that would be the result. So now with that, I'm going to jump into the game and then carry on with the rest of the video, all right? So let's talk about the rotation, and first thing I'd like to show you is how to wave the beam like I mentioned before. So the first thing to do is that I've got 2 hotbars set up. One is for the general multi-mob environment like this one, and I've got another one that is specifically on the optic beam, which is the beam waving. Now the reason why I like to have 2 hotbars is that personally I would prefer the focus beam, because focus beam is very nice, right? Focus beam is something like this. And observe my cursor. I can actually roll anywhere on the screen and it remain on target. And imagine this Madam Hydra is trying to attack you with her bullet, and she will never hit you at all. Imagine you are a Red Skull, he will never hit you at anything at all. Imagine the Sentinel will never hit you at anything at all. So this is really nice. One of the very special feature of Cyclops that you should really abuse. But unfortunately, in order to do beam waving, you have to toggle to the second setup, which is more using an optic beam. Now, optic beam is a little bit lower DPS than focus beam and does not have the kind of a very luxury of being dodged and whatnot while beaming the target, re-engage target immediately. But optic beams go something like that. You can actually beam anything that move, and it cut across everything, kind of thing. So it's kind of nice as well. But it's a different kind of utility. So now, how do you really wave the beam inside the other beam, right? So what you need to do is that you need to inject the focus beam into optic beam in a certain optimal frequency. Like I mentioned to you, optimum frequency is a tempo of 120 or twice per second. So if I use a metronome, because I can't really play the music here, I don't think YouTube allowed me. But I've got a metronome app, something like that. All right, and I'll just I'm not sure whether you can see 120. So I'll set the thing up. So you just the injection is something like this. You hold this thing, and after that inject the thing in. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. So this is I'm injecting focus beam into the optic beam itself. So interlace 2 power together, up the DPS by 60% in my case. All right, so now you may say that, well, it's a little bit tedious if you do that. So what you could do as well is that, if you use Beast, if you use Hybrid, which I do use Hybrid, if not, then you can use a Strike Team. So, another Strike Team like Jean is doing pretty well as well. Then you can use the cooldown of the Beast as the cue to your twice per second, right? Because, as the countdown comes, you just need to hit twice, like playing drums. Imagine you are the drummer, all right? So, you can roll the Beast in, all right? Then after that, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Roll the beast in. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right. So now of course, by doing that, you either have to pay attention to this hotbar, which actually is not that fun at all, or you just get a rhythm, right? Because imagine a lot of imagine you're Metallica drummer, you don't really need a metronome, right? Metronome is in you, so you have to train yourself like a Metallica drummer to get the rhythm in your head without hearing the metronome if you want to play Cyclops really well. So that's my advice. No, it's not. You could listen to music, like some kind of music, you can time the tempo as well. I think a lot of like a techno music or disco music or pop music these days are the frequency is pretty standard, so the tempo is pretty standard, so you can use that to time your just repeat the song and just play Cyclops with it. I think that's cool. Right, now, when we come to the whole rotation, let's talk about the single target first. The first thing I like to do is Master Tactician, because it debuffs the targets for 12.8 seconds in my case. And but the only thing is that it's 12 seconds, right? Because Beast is 8 seconds. So what it really means is that the first time you use Technician and Beast, then the next time you refresh on a Beast, you don't use Technician again, but then on the Beast 4th second count cooldown, then you do a Tactician, and then after Beast finish, you do another Beast, then after that you come to the end, then the whole cycle repeat again. So it's like a three Beast cycle. So every 3 Beast, you do 2 Tactician. So in reality, let me just run this with you, right? So it is like this: 1, 2, all right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you roll the Beast in without a Tactician. 1, 2, 1, 2. On the 4th second cooldown, all right. Then you do the Tactician again to reapply the vulnerability. All right. Then after that, the Beast. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then at the end of Beast, before it expire, then Tactician again. All right. Alright, so that's it. After that, you can use Overwatch and then use Signature. Alright, so this is Signature. Alright, so you always use Overwatch because it gives you a huge, depending on gear as well, it gives you quite a huge damage rating before your visor off. Alright, so now that is on a single target, but if you are on the say multiple targets, then what I do is actually the other one, which is Optic Devastation, because I don't really enjoy the Optic Beam. But I use this Optic Devastation as the it has a very wide kind of like it goes something like this, right? So it's really cool effect as well. I love the visual effect, and I use that to. I mean, it doesn't hit hard. I'll show you a number later, but it's sort of like it helped me to clear a whole, well, not clear, but at least it helped me to damage a whole bunch of mob right in front, half a big like half circle, rather than the Optic Beam, which is like the like the one that you try to swing and get all the mobs around on the way. It's not effective. So I use 2 hotbar. The other one is just like a huge like burst damage. That's all. And so remember, sorry, there's a fly coming right onto me. I should beam it off. So yeah, that's it. And that is the rotation. I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. So here's Cosmic Kurse with the Cyclops as well as Havoc, right? How nice. So this is my third hotbar setup, by the way, because in a cosmic environment, I will need to, unlike Cosmic Patrol, whereby most of the time I just aim for the boss. This one I need to sort out with a lot of like those small mobs along the way as well. Because in Cosmic Patrol environment, the mobs are more tightly couple usually, unlike tightly packed together, unlike the terminal whereby they spread around. So because they are spread around, because my cooldown of the optical devastation, I need to be able to see, it's quite effective, isn't it? I need to be able to use a beam to clear the mob. So it is very unique to Cyclops as well. Yeah, I mean his layer devastation is not really that powerful, right? But he's pretty agile. I mean, he doesn't feel sluggish when playing him. So devastation again. So that is it. And I use the beam to just clear off the stuff. All right. So that's about it. Make sure you use some. Well, that was a miss. Beast was rolling to nothing. So yeah, I mean, just make sure you do some like a physical power as well. Although Cyclops is more of an energy hero, an energy range hero. But come on, man, one blast. You see, it doesn't die all. It doesn't clear everything. So it's all right. I mean, I mean, if you see other hero these days, I mean, there's a lot more fantastic, I think, when it comes to burst time or whatnot. But I mean, and also another thing to note is that Cyclops is really not at all fragile, I think. I mean, you know, he look at his damage reduction is about 41%, 39%, and you are talking about like you know, a ranged hero having that kind of like a mitigation. I think it's pretty alright, really. And it doesn't really disappoint. I mean, you know, I know that in the past it's really fragile, but I think with the revamp, the defense system revamp, I think it's alright. You just have to be a little bit mobile and use the focus beam if you need to run around a little bit while targeting. That would be fine. But if you can eat the damage and just like, you know, so focus beam is this one, alright? So you can, well, okay, the mob died already. I wanted to demonstrate how that works. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, just devastation, all right? So focus beam, just, you know, right? So you can use focus beam as well. It's a lot of like option when it comes to Cyclops. I mean, he's not really a fast kind of moving. I mean, the Blade. For those who have seen Blade video, I mean, he clears things a lot faster. So I'm going to debuff him. And I'm going to weave the beam a bit. Maybe I tell you what I'll do. I'll do a signature, a buff Overwatch, and I'll do signature. Now I'm just explaining the fight here, so I'm not really focusing here. Then I can do the, you know, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, okay, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so that's it. All right, I mean, I wasn't really seriously playing for the kill time, but I just trying to explain to you what the thing you can do. With Kurse, so you know, just make sure that your beast is on cooldown, and after that, then you use your Overwatch for the signature, and that's it. You just wave the beam. But if you have multiple mobs, just use an optical devastation. So that is how I would suppose you play Cyclops. And for those who are interested to see like how you survive in the cosmic patrol environment and what kind of hotbar setup I have an earlier video. On the patrol, I'll show up the link right now here. But I mean, back then I didn't really conduct the analysis on the frequency, so you know the whole beaming frequency a little bit off. I did it a bit too fast. But in essence, that's how it really plays. So maybe I do a little bit more on the. Let me see what kind of things I have here. Maybe I do a little bit more on others like terminals, just to show you a little bit more about how it plays like. All right. So let's do Mandarin because I need to. There's a share quest there as well. What do I need to do? Terran as well. Okay, fine. So same thing, and the you know, devastation. Right. So that is the right, focus beam. Just wave the beam here and there if you want to. Don't have to. You don't have to really. And the and usually that's all. The mag is there. Just boom. Right. So that is all. Again. That's it. Just beam things. I wish that Cyclops can fly somehow, but you know, his bike is a little bit slow. All right. So okay, I got stunned. So I mean, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of like how should I say, the area power that enable to clear a lot of things very fast. I mean, if you look at other heroes these days, they are pretty strong in the area department. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's an X-Men thing. I mean, look at Wolverine as well. It's not really fast as well when it comes to Wolverine. So I don't know. Somehow I wish Garcinia has more love for the X-Men. It's quite obvious sometimes what happened to it. So anyway, I'm just moving my way towards the boss here. Okay, I need some max, some I think some turrets, and okay, this is a big chunk here. So how about this? All right, man. No. Alright, so these are the optic beam that you just swing around. But then, you know, this is the thing, right? You use optic beam, you get damage as well. Focus beam is kind of nice. Focus beam is just... Alright, man. So these are all beam. I mean, the visual effect is fantastic when it comes to Cyclops, but it just... I mean, of course, another option is use Ricochet, but Ricochet is actually half the damage of the main spender, at least half of it, if not more, is a basic power. So I would not really recommend it for Endgame for Ricochet. I wish there was specialization that enable Ricochet to be a basic, just like Cable. You know, for Cable, you know, he's one of his basic power become become a spirit spender. If you spec the if you spec the specialization for it, so I thought that one is actually quite good. You know, that kind of kind of options to make some really well loved basic power to be basicless. I mean, you know, yeah, so that is the, I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't really go that way for Cyclops. It's just like picking the target one by one. Yeah, I mean, this is a very old way of playing, because in the old days, that's what you do. You pick the target one by one. You know, during I think back when the game was being released, that's what you do, right? You beam the thing, you pick out the target one by one. But this day, who does that really? I mean, you know, give me a hero whereby you still do that, picking target one by one. I don't think anybody would like to spend too much time playing, I think. But that is just my opinion. Sometimes my opinion does not really matter. It's whether you enjoy the hero as a big fan or not. So I'm going to just head to I just head to Mandarin, right? So okay, so I could use a bike, but then it's kind of slow as well. I can show you if I may. All right, so I just like bike it up myself. But I mean, the bike is cool and all, but they are not really at all easy to control or fast, nor fast even. Blade's one, I think Blade's one is even slower, right? So I mean, it's nice to look at, but it's totally impractical. I prefer Jean who can fly from an X-Men perspective. But okay, enough of that. So I tell you what, let's just like let's just do a beam weaving here, man. All right, so just weave the balls, going up. So there you go. So again, let's go up close and personal with the boss. Come on, man. Where's the boss? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the not ultimate. That is the signature, and that's it. So I was just trying to get an angle to it without stepping onto any of this like stuff on the floor. Although nowadays you can probably just eat any damage, but I still would like to just play it well, in the sense that if I could pay attention to what's around me, avoid it, yeah, why not? I mean, that's part of the game. So yeah, I hope that is probably the end of the in-game clips to see Cyclops in action. I hope you have an idea how to play him, and next bit is on the gear itself. Okay, before we talk about the gear, let's talk about the build first. I almost forgot about that. But when it comes to the build, there aren't many options really. There's not much creativity. If you go anywhere in the internet, it'll probably tell you the same story. But at least now you know how to construct this story, right? So when it comes to optic beams, the visor off is signature, you must grab. Then the beam waving involve focus beam and the optic beam. But then if you don't really care about kill time, I would just pick focus beam. For leveling up, I use focus beam, and I'm quite happy with that the kind of configuration. But yeah, I mean, these two beam is must side by side. Now you know how it works. So I hope you remember. Twice a second. Tempo is about 120, and you don't really want to bother with explosive blast. The damage layer is so very pathetic, even having a vulnerability kind of like thing on it, because yeah, I'll show you some number later. It's just very disappointing. Ricochet is actually one of the very well loved power. Unfortunately, it's a basic power. I wish there's a specialization button here say that make it non-basic, like Cable, make this power awesome. So I wave, instead of waving the focus beam, I wave this one. How about that? No, I mean, I don't really mean that. So yeah, and then after that, the optic devastation is, if you are really onto raid and raid only, single target, you don't bother with this. This add no value to it because of my attack speed. I'll show you the gear later. Because of my attack speed, basically having this one, not having this one has no effect on my kill time at all. So why even waste one space whereby I could have a ride, right? So fighting expertise again is really disappointing here. I wanted to build the melee and the range kind of like Cyclops, but his melee build is not that inspiring, and I've decided not to have that as well. And all this, I really wish that it was something else. I tried this roll as well. It rolls sideways, so it doesn't really help at all. So the only thing that you like to pay attention to is this one, martial arts. It gives you, well, you don't really care about the melee power, but but what you care about is the defense rating. with the gear, then the defense rating go up. Now, whether you should max it or not, so if you're leveling, you don't really care about beam waving, you pick either the optic beam or the focus beam, whichever you enjoy. I actually like the focus beam a lot because it's very unique to Cyclops. Then you can move the 20 point into defense and make your hero pretty durable, because it adds a whole chunk of defense onto your hero, and defense is important. And also another thing to talk about is the shotgun beam as well. It could have been a good layer, but actually it's quite bad as well. Also has a very short range, so it's being tagged as a range, but it's really bad. So yeah, I mean, don't bother with that. From a team tactic perspective, 1 point here is good enough. You don't need to because with that, master tactician is already 12 point something second. It's good enough for you to reapply it every 1.5 beast or any of strike team. Now I'll show you some numbers later. Beast is by far the best out of the physical ones, but if you really like the area of the angel, because angel actually hit an area around the whole area, so in patrol it could be useful as well, because beast actually roll on a straight line and do a damage over time, while this one actually hit 4 times. But then it kind of I don't really like the sound effect of the angel keep pouncing the ground every every once in 2 seconds kind of thing. So it's kind of odd that it seems bouncing all the time. You have to keep it up as well, so it becomes very destructive to me. Yeah, just my problem. Alright, anyway, then if you are into pure energy build, meaning that you don't really care about the strike team, you can pick either one of them. And a good thing about strike team is actually the DPS is pretty decent as well, so it's a viable layer. Alright, so 20 on this one. Why do you even care about it? Is the only thing I dodge whether I have a little bit more or not. It doesn't really make or break my hero. The only reason why I boost this up to to the max is that I like to have the energy damage twice per second for 8 seconds, which has a 40% chance. I think it's a 25% chance, but if you put a gear in, I think it's 25% chance. So it's a chance that will apply the damage over time. What it really means to you though is that this twice per second will not apply constantly through the life cycle of the whole rotation, but there will be gap between the two set of it. The gap is determined by the 25%, so if you are hitting maybe twice per second, then you probably have a 2 second gap between the 8 second or less than that, right? 1 to 2 second gap before the next proc comes in the picture. So that is how you see it. Or but actually I think it will continue to kind of proc, which I hope it worked that way, continuous proc, just that the initial proc may have 1 to 2 second delay. Alright, so that's all it is. So it's good to have that as a passive. And then force multiplier is, that is beautiful because you have energy damage versus the crit damage as well. So, it also buffs the strike team, so this is useful. And the Overwatch will be the one that, Overwatch, isn't it the Blizzard game that's coming up on board? Overwatch? Anyhow, Overwatch the usage is useless, right? Because if you see a ally die, then you use it to revive. So it's like a battle rest if you're playing World of Warcraft. He's a healer. Cyclops is a healer, battle rest. But I use it more selfishly. I use it to buff my damage rating. Right? So that's all it is when it comes to Cyclops. And in terms of the Omega system, I don't really need to talk too much about Omega system this day, because the new I think they'll revamp the Omega system a little bit, raise the cap and so on for the next for 2016. So I hope my guy can last for another 6 months to 1 year. I don't think they will update Cyclops in another 6 months to 1 year. Gazillion proved me wrong. All right. So now. So spin tagged, and after that I prefer a little bit of the stuff here, and because I do physical damage as well, I don't mind going into this 1 point to the globin. It's actually quite a good note for the number of points that you put in, and then I get all the way down to Phoenix Force plus 10 energy. Why not? So that is the one. A bit of Shadow King, boost my crit and so on. Crit is still a premium in this game, and then because it's a hybrid, so I got sort of I boost my energy base damage when I do physical power for 5 seconds or whatnot. But I do not want to go down to this path, because there's only one power that's the strike team that's physical. I don't really want to waste my Omega points on it. All right, so 1 point on here is sufficient. I think the escalation is quite high anyway. Then after that, 10 point on the Warpath, and 1 point on Sabertooth, and that's all about it. All right, so when it comes to hero synergy, same thing. Just Cable. Captain Marvel is the one that gives you a lot of whole chunk of energy. Iron Man, both energy and range, lovely. Then after that, the Mr. Fantastic on the crit damage, Squirrel Girl on the versus boss, Star-Lord on the energy crit. You need everything of that, and after that, the Thor with both energy and physical. War Machine is the +1 fighting, and Wolverine as well as the Winter Soldier, which give you 3% of each. That's about it, right? Because Beast does melee, so I may as well pick the Winter Soldier on that one. So that's all. So now let's go to gear. So let's talk about gear and the costume I have for Cyclops, because I think Cyclops is pretty special. The one that of course I love the most is the Phoenix Force, because I really like that series of the comic book. And I mean, it's really fantastic. I mean, well, it does look a little bit funny, but it does look really fantastic together with the Emma Frost, as well the Phoenix Force and the I think the Colossus. And I hope that Magic's Phoenix Force will be something I can buy rather inside a fortune card. And the and yeah, I mean, this is one of them, and I've crafted 2 of them. The another one that I like is this one. I like it a lot these days. It's kind of very tight fitting and very cool looking. The Now costume, and then another one is the just all new X-Men, which is also very sharp and nice. I mean, because this game sometimes is very dark, like the like Mandarin, the Hydra Island just now. It's a very striking one. Just remind me of the Gambit City. Costume, very nice and striking. I mean, anyway, those are my crafted kind of beloved crafted costume. But the one I'm using here is this one. Let's talk about this one first. And I use the crit damage rating for the Cyclops. So the core is a legacy decision, because back then I really thought that back then he was pretty fragile. But I think these days you may or may not need the 25%. I mean, you see me doing the rotation. I never run out of any spirit at all. Use a med kit to recover spirit. So you could potentially have those +1 fighting, +1 energy, plus whatever to your range at all. So but I mean, I just have some kind of like health regen there, so I don't know, who knows, this game changes all the time. So now let's go through the artifact. So just I have this best artifact guide, so in that there's a lot better kind of option out there, but the one that I'm using, I mean, this one is pretty decent. This one is like a mid-range kind of like artifact. I mean, there are other one that I recommend as well. Metasensory, do you need it? Do you not need it? But I mean, if you look at it, without it, I still have rank 50. I think 50. So in a way, I could have replaced that, because I don't really need that to be there. But it does buff the rest of it of the stuff here. So it helps a little bit. But I mean, there are many other better options as well. Check out the other video on the best artifact guide to show you when you have a range energy hero, what other better artifacts are there. And this is again a legacy decision, Dr. Doom. Because I last time I really needed kind of like health and spirit on that. So and it has a quite decent flat damage rating as well. It benefits both the crit and the physical and energy though. But there are many other options like Pyro as well. You can probably buff your energy quite a fair bit, and any other generic kind of medallion would help a lot as well. So I also boost on the ranged for this one. If you have spare crit damage, equip that, so that would benefit your beast, the physical layer as well. But like I say, majority of damage actually come from the beam itself, so you don't really care about too much of that. Oh yeah, by the way, the reason why I chose some of this artifact is that of the attack speed component to it. So this has attack speed to it, and and this has attack speed to it as well. So all in all, there are some attack speed there, here and there. So it helped me, because the beam itself will get buffed by the attack speed, right? So so my damage of the beam actually right now outgrown the rest of the layer that I have. So yeah, so my attack speed is about 25.7% kind of thing, right? So it makes you faster to use. That's all. All right. And I mean, just show you some of my crit number is 52%. That is the energy crit before adding in the range component to it as well. If I have range crit, so I mean, these are pretty decent number, but because I use Power Cosmic as well, if you are hybrid, Power Cosmic is probably the one that you will stick onto. However, if you want the best out from the the grade 80, pick a rod, and then after that do away with the whole hybrid thingy. If you so wish to, you can toggle and switch to a Gene, kind of like strike team. All right. So power dupe is the one I use because I use hybrid. It does give quite a lot of very good procs as well. And the I mean the ring wise, just pick something neutral. I boost the range because I understand this is melee, but I don't really do that much melee power, to be honest. And the I mean that's all. This one courtesy of my friend. One of my friend captains has passed that to me a long time ago for Mr. Fantastic, but I didn't really got a chance to use that for Mr. Fantastic. And for Cyclops, I felt I needed to because with the Power Cosmic, it's going to be low in the crit department, so I need every help I can to do that. All right, so yeah, good donation, thank you. And pet wise is this one. People always ask me what to roll for what rank, so I would suggest this is a generic pet. Once you get one of these and get one for your summoner, you don't need to worry about the pets anymore. So I hope that covered all the gear discussion. Now comes the most exciting part of the video, which is the number itself. So for those who are new to this part of the video, I usually share with you behind the scene what's happening, but feel free to skip to the last part using the timecode below, just jump to the final closing. But for those who like to sort of like look into some numbers and so on, I'm more than happy to share my findings with you here. And as I always said, it's always work in progress. I always change the template and so on, and I don't really bother updating any of those spreadsheet I have. So I'm not really comfortable in putting a link there in my video because then I feel obliged to update everything, which is already quite hard to keep track of all these videos I have. So anyway, I usually go with the no gear, no omega point, no hero synergy system, no team up as well, and just to really look into how the power is being designed. And I also make certain assumptions as well, and sometimes I write it, sometimes I don't. So that's also one of the reasons why I don't not just like share as it is, but like to just talk through it. The assumption I have is that I assume I'm 250% above the base damage when I add all those other damage as well. Why is it important? Because later on, when they say add another 40% or add another whatnot percent, then you have to make some assumption to find out what is the net effective gain that you have. All right, so I would not use ricochet, although it's hit multiple targets, but look at the number itself. It's not even half of what the other two have, which is going to be buffed by the at her speak. So between the focus beam and optic beam, like I mentioned to you, focus beam is hit harder. All right, this number is before the attack speed modification. All right. And then after that, explosive, if you use an explosive blast as a spender, you could, it's just not as effective, that's all, because it has a vulnerability debuff. Or you can use a layer to give you 1000 DPS. What is this when you look at the rest of DPS? For layer, usually it's around, any useful layer is usually around 6, 7, 8, even 10,000. So that is pathetic. So don't use that. Or should you use shotgun beam? It's like 5k, are you sure? Wow, crazy. Visor off is the one that you should, again, it's very low. If I can show you blade later. Just remember these numbers here, 4,000 for 45 second cooldown. The blade beats it with a 40-second cooldown. Take that, Cyclops. Anyway, optic devastation is another layer that has less than 6k. Again, pathetic. But it is what it is. And after that, forget about all this punch or whatnot. I mean, for melee main spender, if you play melee, you probably use it as a main spender. I mean, this main spender 25k as a main spender, not even beating the range. Man, I mean the melee just totally pathetic. They may as well don't do it, right? I mean, if it's so bad. Anyway, so when it comes to strike team, you have all of them are very even. Now, of course, the melee one would hit harder. Well, I don't know whether G is melee or not, but so if you are onto physical, you have only two choices. One is the beast, another one is angel. So you can see that which one is higher, right? So one is higher than the other one. And if you are into energy, that use Gene instead of use Iceman. That's about it. And as I promised, if you take a look at blade, then you can see the range number is so much more fantastic. Like pump action is a range. itself is already 30k. That's before his bloodlust or serum buff, right? I mean, although Cyclops is main spender is buffed by attack speed. I mean, Blade one is also buffed somehow somewhere, and I mean, you can see the difference between the old hero and the new hero. And even if you look at the layer, right, like the stick thrower itself, it's already 9k, right? And there are other layers as well. Although the other two layers are also pretty weak. I mean, Blade, like I said, Blade is mainly a melee hero. But the other two actually add up because they're extra layer on top. So I mean, these are pretty good stuff. And if you look at signature as well, 600,000 for 15. K DPS versus Cyclops visor off, which is this one. Now, of course, you can argue that visor off hit more target, maybe compared to Blade signature, but I think Blade's a melee signature also hit a lot of target. Yeah. So anyway, I thought there's some advanced technique. By the way, I was looking for this one. So it's even higher and hit a big area as well for advanced technique for Blade's. Melee signature. So anyway, I thought I'd share some of this with you, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit long, but I also want to go a little bit extra miles for you because I could just talk about a build, but I would like to find out myself, like, is there an optimal kind of like frequency in terms of getting the maximum out of Cyclops, because you will need to squeeze everything out from him. To make him competitive even with other heroes. So now, I think before I log off here, I just want to leave some thoughts with you. You think about it. You don't need to talk about it right now. Is that if you look at this game, the state of this game right now, on one side you have iconic Avengers like Captain America, like Thor, like Spider-Man, Hulk, and the rest. On the other end, you look at what X-Men has, Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Emma Frost. I mean, Colossus. These are pretty iconic X-Men. If you put side by side together, the state of the game today, which one will win? I think I'll just leave you guys to think about it. All right. So till next time we see each other. Goodbye, and I hope next time we'll talk about Danger Room. Bye.